Before I'm not going to be speaking. I'm not one of the official speakers tonight, but today, this morning. For me, it's already it's almost lunchtime. But the Sunday morning shir is a tremendous Kiddush Hashem, and there's a lot of people that were part of the shir that are not here today that couldn't make it. But it's a tremendous Kiddush Hashem that people get together Sunday morning. People are busy. It's the only day off, and Shabbos you can't do anything. So it ends up being a pretty busy day, and people give up of their time, 15-20 minutes every Sunday to come and learn. Derech Hashem is a tremendous Kiddush Hashem, and I'm very fortunate to be able to have been part of it somewhat. Before Rabbi Rosenthal speaks, I just wanted to give a little background why we chose Derech Hashem. Derech Hashem is obviously a large portion of Derech Hashem is I guess you could call it esoteric and stuff that we understood, or we made believe we understood, or we tried to understand. We understood partially, but the point was that when you learn Derech Hashem, you really open up a new world of Yerushalayim, open up a new world of connection to Hashem that did not exist before you learned Derech Hashem. Every one of the Ramchal Svarim, I'm sure you can hear from. I'm not a Baki in Ramchal Svarim, but to me, Derech Hashem was definitely an eye opener that you do a mitzvah. You're not just coming to Shach, fulfilling the minyan, making the rabbi feel good. What you're doing is you're building worlds, you're building universes, you're building eternity, and that was a tremendous eye opener across the whole Derech Hashem. Whether it's lulav, whether it's shachris, whether it's shema, whether it's just emunah, just understanding that on our day today, you go to work. There's more meaning. There's more meaning in it. So. That was the point, and that was the purpose, and I think that much we did accomplish. Even the people that sat in the corner and were learning something else also got to be part of it. And now, Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to be learning Mesilas Yesharim. After we learn Derech Hashem and we see there's a bigger world out there, all of a sudden we go back to Mesilas Yesharim, and all of a sudden everything has a little more meaning. It's not just this act or that act or giving a little more tzedakah. It's you're seeing a bigger picture. And we hope you'll continue to participate in the shir.
Good morning. I'm not here to speak. Rabbi Rosenthal will say a few words after Rabbi Naiman. I just want to give a few thank yous. First of all, to Rabbi Braun for the past 2.5 years. What was his brainchild? This whole idea of learning Derech Hashem, encouraging people to come, making sure people attended, setting up the Bais Medrash from Motzei Shabbos and Sunday morning to make sure that it was pleasant and there was coffee and some cake or whatever else was there, some refreshments. Even today was co-sponsored by Rabbi Braun, and obviously for Rabbi David Rosenthal for preparing every single week and giving over the shir for 2.5 years. It's quite a long time and quite a commitment, and hopefully it will continue through many more svarim. I don't know Rabbi Naiman personally, only from some of his works, but I just would like to, before he speaks, just share a little bracha. You can write a sefer, you could work thousands and thousands of hours putting something together, and you have no idea where it leads. I know I once put something out, and I put it out. I had no idea where it was going to go, and I ended up in a small little kettle in Meir Sha'arim, and someone came over to me, asked me my name, and I told my name. He's like, "Oh wow, I went through your sefer from cover to cover." I have to say that it propelled me to continue working further, because you have no idea that someone's actually reading something. Obviously, elucidating a sefer like Derech Hashem, translating it, elucidating it, putting a pirush on the bottom is a much bigger work. But then again, you have no idea how much the effect is going to affect people, how much people are actually going to toil over it and use it. And I hope this is not the only time that Rabbi Naiman that you're going to be hearing that there was a whole chabura, entire chabura that actually learned this, came out every Sunday morning to learn it and spent years going through your sefer and helped them go through from beginning to end of the Derech Hashem. Gemara in Brachos tells us, Sprach, Elam chatir b'chayecha. Elam chatir b'chayecha means you should see your world in this during your lifetime. Normally, we don't know our accomplishments until afterwards. But there are times when a person gets a glimpse into some of how much his actions affected people, how much it accomplished. And Mr. Hashem, Elam chatir b'chayecha, you should see many, many more accomplishments from all the work that you do in a little corner in Baltimore. Can you write in that any further introduction, Rabbi Naiman, if you could? No, he's speaking. He's speaking.
It's my turn?
I think I wasn't on to introduce you.
Okay, that's fine.
We didn't have this planned out exactly yet. So if I could just add on to the introduction to Rabbi Naiman, I was privileged to learn in front of Rabbi Naiman for several years, and unfortunately I only figured out who he was several years into it, so I wish I had figured it out earlier. Rabbi Naiman is the author of the Elucidated Derech Hashem that we've been learning. He's written incisive translations and commentaries on several works of the Ramchal. He was nice enough to donate Maimari Ramchal, which we have in English in the back. He's also written on Derech Siyum and Maimer HaGeula. In addition to many other books he's written, he's translated several tractates of the Babylonian and Jerusalem Talmud for Artscroll. You'll see his name in the books on the back and some of the harder Masechtas that have been translated. And if I could just mention that many of us who've learned in yeshiva, sometimes you find a sefer and it has footnotes, and they're very interesting footnotes, and they, are kind of just like showing what the author knows on that topic, but they don't do much to elucidate the text and make you understand the text. Every single footnote in the Elucidated Derech Hashem was unbelievable in helping understand the text and making it clear. And not only that, but Rabbi Naiman has the breadth of all of the works of the Ramchal, so he would quote where the Ramchal says a similar idea and use what the Ramchal wrote in another book to elucidate and make clear what he meant in Derech Hashem. And I wouldn't have been able to give a Derech Hashem shir if I didn't have it. And we all used Rebbe's version, and we are very excited to hear Rebbe speak.
Just want to let you know the truth about things. There's so many different things to say. Let's see where to start. First of all, the Sunday morning shir. A Sunday morning shir, you have to allow credit for that. I have a much bigger community in Baltimore. We tried Sunday morning shiurim. We started maybe with 8 guys, 10 guys, and then dwindled. It's hard to have a Sunday morning shir. Maybe it was the wrong topic. We should have done Derech Hashem, but we were learning Yerushalmi. Maybe that was the difference. So, about the footnotes, you should just know what Artscroll does. I've been around Artscroll for a few decades. They taught us, or they try to get us to. And when you read a Gemara, the notes aren't just informative. The notes should be like they're talking. They say, make it like you're talking. That when someone reads it, they should see like they're talking to you. Because when you're seeing something, you read it up top and you say the Gemara, and then by the way, there's this thing, that thing. We're not trying to show off our knowledge by just giving you citations, and which means it leads me to the next point. When you read my Svarim or any other Svarim that are printed, say the last 10 years, and you see great breadth of knowledge, bikiyus from all over, we don't know anything. We just have good search programs on the computer. So you push a button. You want to know about Olam Haba, world to come. You push a button, and you have thousands, whatever you need to know. So all we are, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not the Rav, but for myself, all I am is a researcher. So you research. You know what to choose. Maybe through working with Artscroll, I got better at it than other people. I don't know. But it's just a matter of research. It's no big, when I read, you take a book out of the library that was written 100 years ago, 50 years ago, and then they bring down Nefesh HaChaim that you started and abruptly stopped, right? Nefesh HaChaim, that he'll say a certain principle and give you 10 different places where it says it in the Zohar HaKadosh and where it says in a Rizal. He didn't have a computer. And that means that people used to have minds where they remembered things, where they just knew things. We don't have that anymore, so we do what Hashem gave us. So I'm not sure what came first, the chicken or the egg. Is it because we have our computers now we lost our minds? Or is it because we lost our minds, Hashem gave us computers? But whatever it is, we deal with the computers, we deal with what we have, and hopefully we're doing the right thing. The teachers, my wife's a teacher, she says once people got smartphones, the kids don't listen anymore. They can't listen more than a few minutes at a time. Right? It's a phenomenon, because once you have different ways of learning, so what they're doing now is they're finding ways of teaching people that are children that are cell phone or smartphone, not addicts, but so owners, that they use them. So we have to deal with this situation. And Derech Hashem, I always say, when I learned Derech Hashem, I've given chavors in it in the yeshiva in town for also decades, and people find, I say, 90% of any question you have in Judaism you find in answer in Derech Hashem. It's unbelievable the way the Ramchal was a master at organizing thought, explaining things in order. And he said in the beginning, you read Nagdama, the introduction, he said, don't overlook one word in this book that I'm writing. Now, if someone says, don't overlook one word in what I wrote, you have to take it seriously, right? And anyone that writes it, because they're accountable now. Don't overlook one word. And then I say, well, yeah, but over here you said this, and there you contradict yourself. How do you say not to overlook that? If you say that, that means that you went over every single word carefully. And if you're the Ramchal, if you're someone who knew all of Torah, and you write a book and say, this is the way you serve Hashem, and there's not one word extra, not one word that should be overlooked, it's something that's very powerful. I think that's the power of the Sefer. And I have heard from people all over that they learn Derech Hashem, some my version, other versions, but Derech Hashem is certainly something that you should be proud of. And maybe when you finish Mesilas Yesharim, you should go back to Derech Hashem and review it. Right? Could be, could be that. If you want a quick review, by the way, of Derech Hashem, in the blue one, the Mamar Ramchal, if you read the Mamar HaYikarim there, it's a small sefer, and it's a great review of Derech Hashem in 20th of the size of Derech Hashem. Many of the principles are there. If you missed this year, that's something you could read in easy English, and that's worthwhile. One principle from Ramchal, which I think is very valuable for us to know. We say in our davening on Shabbos, there's no one like you, Hashem, in this world. There's no one like you, our King, in the world to come. There's nothing like you. You redeem us in the times of Mashiach, and there's no one like you when you revive the dead. Right? 4 different periods in time. There's this world, the next world, the times of Mashiach, and the times of resurrection of the dead. So when are these 4 times? Right? Those that learn, I won't give any tests now. Rosenthal will give a test maybe later to make sure you have it straight. But just one thing, when people, Rahman al-Islam, when people, God forbid, die, where do they go? What happens when someone dies? Where do they go? So we know where the body goes. The Ramchal said has to be reconstructed to be able to receive the reward in the world to come. But where does the soul go? Where does the neshama go? So people make a mistake and they say it goes to Olam Haba. right? Go to the world to come, right? Why is that a mistake?
The world to come is about the Mashiach.
That what?
The world to come is more talking about Mashiach.
Right. In other words, the world to come is like when you go. I don't know if they have them anymore. Movie theaters. They used to have movie theaters where you would say coming attractions, right? World to come is a coming attraction. There's no world to come yet. Olam haba. Right now we have this world. Olam haba, the world to come, is a coming attraction. It's not here yet. It's going to come after Mashiach comes. That's Yemos HaMashiach. Then we're going to get to the year 6000, and that's the beginning of the process to get to the world to come. Right? So the world to come is not here yet. So people do not go to the world to come after they pass away. So where do they go? Olam Neshamas. He says in Derech Hashem, or if you look in the blue one, he says something we're more familiar with, Gan Eden. Right? Gan Eden we just learned about last week in the Parsha. Adam Harishon was in Gan Eden and he got kicked out when he did the Chait because you don't deserve to be in such a spiritual realm. But nowadays, after he made that mistake, when a person passes away, so the neshama goes to Gan Eden, where Adam Harishon was. It's a place that exists. We don't know where. It's in a spiritual realm. Derech Hashem teaches us that besides the physical realm, there's a spiritual realm. So that's what happens when a person passes away. The body gets reconstructed, and the neshama waits in this wonderful waiting room called Gan Eden. And then Mashiach comes at a certain point before the year 6000. The year 6000 starts the process of Olam Haba, the reconstruction of the world. And we have that everlasting tainug, everlasting pleasure of Olam Haba. Something just to keep in mind. The word Olam Haba is used loosely sometimes, but you who learned the Derech Hashem should know this strict definition. Olam Haba is really the world to come. Gan Eden is what we have right now. And we should all be zocha. We should all merit not to have to go to Gan Eden by ourselves. Just our neshamas, we should have the order that there's Olam Hazeh, and then we should have Yemos HaMashiach first. We should have Yemos HaMashiach. Mashiach should come very soon, followed by Tchias HaMesim. All the people that passed away will be revived, and at that point we'll be alive, we'll see it all. We don't have to go through the process. It says we have to go through the process for a minute maybe, just for a quick second moment, but we won't have to have that. And we all know sorrows in every community has sorrows. Every country where there are Jews have different tragedies that occur. We had a tragedy in Baltimore just this after Yom Kippur. Immediately after Yom Kippur we had a tragedy. So they're tragedies. Those tragedies that all end with unbelievable merit of people. I drove here for the first time, and it's like the middle of nowhere. You have this community where people are learning Torah and finishing Derech Hashem, and a beautiful shul, and people come Sunday mornings. Unbelievable. And that merit will bring Mashiach very soon, and we should be able to learn Torah from the Ramchal himself and not from elucidations.
Amen.
Thank you. Everything's been said already, so I'm just going to repeat it. And please get up and get more food. I won't be long, I promise. I know there's a lot of speeches Sunday morning. But, I just want to just give thank yous. Thank you again, Rabbi Naiman, for coming from Baltimore. Thank you to the Jewish Learning Center. I came from Lakewood. From Lakewood, but you only came to Lakewood. Came from Baltimore. Trust me, I've done the drive thousands of times, and I can tell you all the names and the rest stops of the people who work there. He goes to Delaware every day. And thank you, Rabbi Zisau and the Jewish Learning Center for having the shiur here. It's wonderful. It's been my shul since I've been 16 years old. It's a very special place of Torah and place of davening. The shiur was a brainchild of Rabbi Braun. When I moved back from Baltimore 2.5 years ago, Rabbi Braun is like, "Hey, why not give a shiur in Derech Hashem?" I thought he was crazy. I'm like, "I can't give a shiur in Derech Hashem. That's ridiculous." And he just kept pushing me. And I want to thank him for pushing me to do it. And I want to thank him for keeping the shiur going and encouraging everyone to come and participating in the shiur and making sure it goes in the right direction, that everything gets explained. I want to thank him. In addition, he cleans the shul every week after Shabbos to make sure that we have a nice place to daven and a nice place to learn. So this is, I really don't have the words to express my appreciation to Rabbi Braun. This is all because of him. You're welcome. So just the two ideas to mention quickly. We learned in Derech Hashem that there are different hashpaos, and I'm not going to translate because I believe Rabbi didn't translate what the word hashpa means in Derech Hashem. But whatever it is, the highest level of hashpa that we can get in this world comes from studying Torah. That we bring the light of Torah down to the world, and that's the biggest hashpa that exists. So the fact that we come here every Sunday morning and engage in that is a big kiddush Hashem. And I just saw, I'll probably misquote him, but yesterday we read that Noah was a righteous person in his generation. So Rashi brings famously two explanations. Is that a praise of Noah, or is that a negative thing about Noah? Meaning, had he was a righteous person in his generation, which was a very good thing, or it was a negative thing because had he lived in the generation of Abraham, he wouldn't have been so special. So I saw Rabbi Ruderman ask the founder of Ner Yisrael that, if you have a choice to interpret it negatively or positively, why would you interpret it negatively? So he writes, it's actually, even in the negative interpretation, is actually a positive aspect. That even though he was only a righteous person in his generation, and had he lived in the generation of Abraham, he wouldn't have been considered much. Nevertheless, it's a praise. Why? He says a parable that the Arizal gave. They once brought a bird to the court of the Egyptian king. And the bird was talking, not just like a parrot, but it was having a conversation with people. So people were very impressed. So Rizal said, why are people impressed? We're having a conversation now. We've been speaking all morning. He says, because birds don't talk. Compared to other birds, it's impressive. Compared to people, it's not so impressive. So Noah, even if you're just doing the bare minimum, which maybe Noah was doing, and he was technically a tzaddik, but he was just doing the bare minimum. To do the bare minimum when nobody else is doing the bare minimum is that itself is a praise. And now, we here in Alpin that do way more than the bare minimum. We don't live in Lakewood, we don't live in Baltimore, we don't live in Yerushalayim, where there's hundreds of people learning Sunday mornings and going to various shiurim. All we have here in Alpin is the Sunday mornings, the Derech Hashem shiur and Rabbi Kippur shiur at Union Hill. But nevertheless, we all get up and we learn Torah. Despite the fact that we all live here and we all grew up here, and it's a wonderful community, but let's face it, I grew up here, I know we don't have as much Torah as other places. And so I think we're like Noah in that aspect. I'm not saying we're doing the bare minimum, we're even doing beyond the bare minimum, but just the fact that we're doing it in this community, I think, is a tremendous testament to that fact. And it's a Kiddush Hashem, because I know people can get up early, because I passed by Jersey Strong, the place you work out, on the corner of Pease and Gornitz Corner, and it was packed at like 6:30 or 7 in the morning. So the fact that we all come here to learn Torah and do that, I think, is a tremendous Kiddush Hashem. So thank you again to Rabbi Braun and Rabbi Zisel and Rabbi Naiman and everybody for coming to the shiur. I think it's a tremendous Kiddush Hashem, as I mentioned several times, and we should continue. The end.